watches as Slovenia, a small nation with a big decision, contemplates a referendum on its NATO membership. This isn't just about a tiny European country. It's a ripple effect, a seismic tremor in the geopolitical landscape that could echo far beyond its borders, even reaching nations like Pakistan. Why is Slovenia even considering this, you ask? It boils down to a staggering 2.1 billion euros, the cost of increasing its defense spending to 3% of GDP pie. For a peaceful nation, this is a colossal sum, sparking a fierce debate between the government's left-wing party, pushing for it, and the Prime Minister's own party, the Freedom Movement, resisting. Prime Minister Robert Golo's proposal for a public referendum isn't just a democratic exercise. It's a subtle, yet powerful, challenge to the dictates of Washington and Brussels, a question mark over the unquestioning value of strategic alignment. This Slovenian dilemma forces us to ask, who truly benefits from these ever-increasing defense budgets and perpetual conflicts? Is it the citizens? Or is it the colossal arms manufacturers and the politicians intertwined with their interests? This isn't a new question, but it's one gaining traction globally. The narrative of NATO as a common roof is beginning to crack, revealing a structure that many perceive as primarily US-led, where other nations contribute resources and manpower without truly shaping the agenda. This growing sentiment of resistance, of questioning the very foundation of these alliances, is a critical development. Imagine the courage it takes for a nation like Slovenia to even consider such a move. It's a bold statement, a refusal to blindly follow, and it could indeed inspire others from Finland to Greece, even Germany, to reevaluate their own commitments and the pervasive influence of global superpowers. Now, let's pivot to Ukraine, a nation whose plight serves as a stark, painful contrast. For years, Ukraine has yearned for NATO membership, seeing it as a shield against aggression. Yet, despite the brutal ongoing war, their hopes of joining the alliance are fading, evaporating like mist in the morning sun. Negotiations are stalled, concrete progress is non-existent, and commitments are nowhere to be found. Even a figure like Donald Trump, if he returns to office, has hinted that NATO might be left to swim on its own, and Ukraine shouldn't expect free aid. The US itself has openly stated that Ukraine's NATO membership is not part of the current reality in negotiations with Moscow, effectively sidelining Kyiv's deepest aspirations. This, for many observers, is a chilling sign. Ukraine, in the grand geopolitical chess game, is increasingly being perceived as Russia's concern, not NATO's. This brings us to the precarious position of Ukrainian President Zelensky. The video suggests he is becoming politically isolated, with even his closest allies hesitant to guarantee protection, so civil unrest erupts. Whispers of exit scenarios for Zelensky, eerily similar to those of other Western-backed leaders, are circulating. His own wife, Olena Zelenska, has expressed a desire for him not to continue as president, perhaps acknowledging the tragic loss of Ukraine's autonomy. Meanwhile, on the ground, Russia continues its relentless territorial gains, with no incentive to halt its advance under the current conditions. There's a growing unspoken consensus, a chilling speculation that an agreement might be forming between the US and Russia, tacitly accelerated Ukraine's eventual return to Moscow's sphere of influence. The military situation in Ukraine is dire. Ukrainian military leaders, like Kyrylo Budanov, are openly reinforcing the grim reality, the potential need to retreat to more defensible positions to preserve forces. Despite public pronouncements of holding firm, an underlying desperate plea for a ceasefire is emerging, a last-ditch effort to prevent further catastrophic territorial losses. Ukraine's fervent hope for timely US aid is consistently met with a harsh reality. Western assistance often arrives late, burdened with conditions, and often enough. Donald Trump, ever the disruptor, has reported message that any peace deal he mediates would not involve Ukraine ceding Eastern Paradox territories to Moscow. A statement that essentially implies peace might indeed require territorial concessions elsewhere. European leaders, paralyzed by fear and lacking alternative solutions, are seen as contributing to this tragic delay in aid and the ineffectiveness of sanctions. The contrast between Slovenia and Ukraine couldn't be starker. Slovenia, a small nation, is proactively questioning the very alliance that Ukraine desperately seeks. Ukraine's tragic ordeal serves as a brutal lesson for others about the reliability of military alliances and the hollow promises that often accompany them. This isn't just about Europe. It's a global narrative playing out. For Pakistan, a nation with its own complex history of alliances and strategic partnerships, this unfolding drama offers crucial insights. We've seen firsthand how external powers can influence internal dynamics, how promises of aid can come with strings attached, and how the pursuit of strategic alignment can sometimes overshadow national interests. Consider Pakistan's own journey. From the Cold War alliances to the War on Terror, our nation has navigated a treacherous geopolitical landscape, often caught between powerful blocs. The lessons from Ukraine and Slovenia resonate deeply. The concept of strategic autonomy, the ability of a nation to make its own decisions based on its own interests, free from external coercion, becomes paramount. For Pakistan, this means diversifying its partnerships, strengthening its economic foundations, and fostering self-reliance. We've seen how relying on a single power can lead to vulnerabilities, how aid can be weaponized, and how the pursuit of external security can sometimes compromise internal stability. The economic burden of defense spending is another critical point. For developing nations like Pakistan, every rupee allocated to defense is a rupee not spent on education, healthcare, or infrastructure. While national security is paramount, the balance between defense needs and socio-economic development is a constant tightrope walk. Slovenia's debate over 2.1 billion euros highlights this very dilemma. Imagine the impact of such a sum on Pakistan's development initiatives. This is why public discourse, transparency, and accountability in defense spending are crucial, allowing citizens to understand the trade-offs and contribute to informed decisions. Furthermore, the role of media and public sentiment in these geopolitical narratives cannot be overstated. In Pakistan, we are constantly bombarded with information, often from biased sources. It is vital for our populace to critically analyze these narratives, to question the underlying motives, and to understand the complex interplay of power dynamics. The Slovenian referendum is a testament to the power of public opinion when given a voice. For a Pakistani audience, understanding these global shifts, these subtle challenges to establish orders, is key to fostering a more informed and engaged citizenry, capable of discerning truth from propaganda. In essence, the Slovenian story is a microcosm of a larger global shift. Nations are increasingly questioning the cost of alliances, the true beneficiaries of conflict, and the extent to which their sovereignty is compromised by external pressures. Ukraine's tragedy, on the other hand, serves as a stark warning about the perils of unfulfilled promises and the brutal realities of power politics. For Pakistan, these events are not distant headlines. They are vital lessons, reinforcing the importance of strategic foresight, economic resilience, and a foreign policy rooted in national interest and self-determination. The world is changing, and nations like ours must adapt, learn, and chart a course that prioritizes the well-being and future of our own people, rather than becoming pawns in a larger, often ruthless, global game. This is the time for nations to stand tall, to question, and to forge their own destiny, for the sake of their future generations.